Hey guys, Jacob here. This is going to be a quick video on a few of my favorite talents currently in the game at the moment, and ones that I personally use the most. This question's been asked a lot lately. What are my favorite talents to use? So I made a list, and these are the ones that I found that are most effective for me and my play style. And there's many more out there, but this is just the list I currently have at the moment. So here you go. The first one on the list is measured. The top half of the magazine has 15% rate of fire and negative 20% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has negative 25% rate of fire but plus 20% weapon damage. I've been mostly using this on something like the AK to get that little bit of RPM buff, and at the end hit that 20% extra weapon damage and be able to shred people. You could also use it on LMGs. Next is preservation. Killing an enemy repairs 5% of armor for over 3 seconds. Headshot kills improves this repair. Personally, I love this talent due to the fact that I'm constantly killing stuff, PvP, PvE, so killing an enemy basically just repairs 5% of your armor, so I think that's really awesome, and when you get a headshot, it actually improves the armor as well. The next one on the list, which isn't a favorite, but it's one that really caught my attention, which is Lucky Shot. Max capacity is 20% armor, and that's the magazine capacity. Missed shots from the cover has a 25% chance to return to the magazine. This one isn't crazy, but I think it's really interesting due to the fact that you can get a 20% extra mag capacity, and when you're in cover, it does have a chance to return to your magazine. The next one, which I use the most on my SMGs, which is Fast Hands. Critical hits stack at a stack of 3% reload speed bonus, and max stack is 20. So you basically, if you have a lot of crit chance on someone and you hit critical hits when you're in PvP, you'll be able to reload your weapon fast as hell. Basically, this kind of reminds me of Hurried. So I think that was the one in Division 1 where if you got crit hits, it basically makes your gun reload fast. Next is for my LMGs, which is my favorite talent for LMGs, which is Unhinged. Receive 25% weapon damage at the cost of negative 35% weapon handling, and you can make it for the weapon handling with some of the mods or even some of the brand sets and get your stability back, so I think that's really cool, and you can also be hitting a shit ton of damage with an LMG if you have the right pieces. Next, I think this is great for the Sharpshooter, which is eyeless due to the flashbangs. Deal 25% weapon damage to blinded enemies. So if you're in combat and you throw a flashbang and you can be able to hit someone with that, you'll actually get 20% weapon damage. And because it essentially counts them as being blinded due to the fact that it's a flashbang. And this is kind of also a status effect talent, as a lot of my friends have been saying. Next is, I think, probably the best for SMGs, which is Strained. 10% critical hit damage is gained for every 5% of your armor that is depleted, and this does require 5 or less firearms, so you can't have a crazy amount of firearms with this one, so just remember that. Next is Allegro, which I use this on my AK mostly, and lower RPM weapons, something maybe like the M60 as well, due to the fact that I can have a little bit of rate of fire and still hit pretty damn hard. And I've been using this on most of my guns, even SMGs you can on there if you want to have a higher RPM. Next is Frenzy, which I use on the M249. Reeling from empty grants 35% weapon damage and 35% rate of fire for 7 seconds, and it requires 4 or less. So you can use this on the M60, the M60E4, the M249, all these weapons. Even there's a few others you can throw it on there, which is pretty crazy. Next is Close and Personal, which I use this a lot because I have a lot of firearms. This does require 5 or more. Killing a target within 7 meters grants 15% weapon damage for 50 seconds, or 5 seconds, my bad. That is 50% also, so that's a high number. Premeditated, which is my favorite shotgun talent. Weapon damage is increased for every shell loaded, max of 35% additional, 50% if all reloaded. Buff lasts 10 seconds, so if you're fighting someone and you reload and have your shells maxed, you can basically get a large buff for your damage, which I think is really awesome because shotguns are something that a lot of people use nowadays. But next, Ranger, 2% weapon damage per 5 meters from target, which requires 4 or less electronics. This is great if you're using something like a P416 or maybe even a sniper if you really want to, and you can just get your weapon damage up and be able to hit people from a distance, so you don't have to be right in their face. Since lately a lot of people are using Vector and Chatterbox, so I use this one a lot currently with my P416. Next is Optimus, which I use on my AK. 3% weapon damage for every 10% ammo missing from the magazine, and does require 5 or less. That's going to be all, guys, for the talents I use. I will be making a gear talent video in the future, so I can tell you guys some of the gear talents I like. But thank you guys all for watching. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.